What's up, everybody? Welcome to Couple on Fire podcast. This is episode 21, and today we're going to talk about something that we all deal with, and that is how do we find balance in our life? And that's coming up
right now.
Are you a Christian and you are looking to take your faith, your family, and your future to the next level?
Then this is the channel for you.
Hey, we're super glad that you joined us this amazing Tuesday evening. I am one of your hosts, Josh, and I'm here with the always wonderful, my wife, Christy.
Hello.
She's wearing a really nice, awesome Michigan State sweatshirt, so we can talk about that because we like green.
Yeah.
Yay, go green.
Yeah.
All right, so today we want to talk about a crazy subject, actually. It's about something that, we all know about, but what are we actually doing about it? How are we taking balance and how are we utilizing it? In what ways can we utilize it in our lives? It's real simple to say, I need more balance. I need better balance. I need work-life balance. I need church work-life balance. I need gym, church, work-life balance. Like there's all kinds of balance that we can find in our lives. But in all reality, in what ways can we do that? How is it practical and in what ways is it possible? And maybe there's ways in our lives right now that we do have pretty good balance, but maybe that balance in those areas is causing misbalance in other areas. So we're going to really dig deep into this subject today, and hopefully there's a lot of value in it. And if there is, we're going to ask that you hit the share button. If you could do that for us right now, we'd really appreciate it. It's the only way that Facebook even lets people watch these anymore, unless you give them $1 billion. $1 billion. Anyway, so if you could please do us a favor, hit the share button right now and share us out. Hit the like, smash some hearts if this is going to be good for you today. So anyway, we want to talk about balance. And the very first thing we want to hit today on balance is mind.
Yes. And it's so funny because Josh and I were talking about this before we started live. We were like, okay, let's talk about mind, body, and spirit. And we've had this plan for a couple weeks, this one. And it's so funny even how different we think about everything, because Josh was thinking like, okay, how can we help everybody know how to have good balance between the three, mind, body, spirit? And then of course I'm going like, I want to help each person to have balance within each one of those. So I can make things a lot more complicated than they need to be. But I'm just like, how do you balance just your mind? How do you balance just your body? How do you balance just your spirit? So the first one is mind. And I'm like, you have to be able to know how to balance your mind. You have to be able to know, okay, I can't just only read my Bible all the time. I can't, depending on what career you're in, you can't always just only focusing on increasing your knowledge or you're educating yourself just in your career, because then your mind would get out of balance. You need to read your Bible. You need to listen to positive music. You need to read quotes. You need to read books. You need to be able to still educate yourself within the career field that you're in. And so it's very important to have balance in your mind. And like I also brought up to him, you also need to know what your personal release is to shut your mind off. Like for me, if I go out on my back deck in the morning time when it's warm, okay, I can't. I can't do it when it's cold, but when it's warm out, and if I just sit and just listen to nature and the birds singing and just the noises, people mowing their lawn if someone's up at that time mowing their lawn, and my pool, if my pool's running, the hum of the motor. I mean, just really listening, pausing, hearing those things. Or if I can't go outside and be in nature, I think nature is something that we all should try to get into in one form or the other, at least once a week, because God made us to be a part of nature. Mm-hmm. And I think that would cause everyone's mind to slow down. But some of the times, like me, I don't like winter. So I'm not going to go outside in the winter and appreciate the snowflakes and all that stuff. I'm not going to do that. So
from the window,
like
right in the warm house.
So warm in here. It's so cold out there. Right. No, watching movies for me. Now, Josh isn't a huge movie fan like I am, but I really feel like I love watching movies because there's no commercials. So as soon as a commercial comes on a TV show, my brain starts going like, I need to do this. I should be up. I should be cleaning the house. Blah. But if I'm watching a movie for that hour and a half, anymore, some movies are 3 hours long, so for that 3 hours, I'm into the movie. My brain's kind of taking a break. Yeah. So those two things for me, nature, going out in nature, and taking walks in nature, just sitting in nature or watching movies, really, that helps me balance to turn my mind off.
Okay, so that's how you decompress your mind.
Yeah.
What is it that you use to fulfill your mind, tease your mind, grow your mind? What are things that you do continuously? And I already know the answer to this, but I think they need to know the answer to this. What does Christy do to challenge her mind every day?
So I try to have a good, healthy balance. I'm a rule follower. So I try to have a good, healthy balance myself for my mind. So when I get up in the morning, I try to spend a few minutes reading. I spend a few minutes reading my Bible. I spend a few minutes praying. I spend a few minutes reading some other book in some form besides my Bible. And then I also spend a few minutes journaling. So I get up. I get up early in the morning, about an hour early, so I can. And it's been super hot lately here, like in the 90s. So some of the mornings I was able to go out and sit on my back deck, and I loved it. And I read my Bible out there. So I'll read a chapter out of the Bible. And I do it like I just got done reading the New Testament. I started reading the Old Testament now. Read a chapter out of my Bible, and then I'll read like a page or two out of a book. I'll journal for a little bit, and I will spend time just talking to God to fulfill my mind, listening to music on the way to work, listening to an audiobook on the way to work. I'm constantly, because we can get very caught up super quickly in a spiral down of chaos.
Sure, yeah.
And so it's important to keep the thoughts under control.
Yeah, so Christy's a lot more regimented than I am. So I did find this graphic today, and I just really want to show everybody.
Love it.
This awesome graphic. Number one, it's purple, so it does help because it's her favorite color. But the point is right here it says mind, body, spirit, and then in the middle it shows in the yellow, it shows the balance portion of it. And the thing is that I love about this graphic is it shows, you need all three of these things really to create true balance, but you can't have too much mind, and you can't have too much body, you can't have too much spirit, right? So we have a tendency, and I'm a big proponent of this. So we have a tendency to get lost up in something, right? So Christy's a lot more regimented than I am. So I do like my schedule when it comes to fulfilling my mind. I love doing it, right? It's my passion. I love to feed my mind. I love to be encouraged. I like to be inspired. Like I love that type of stuff, and that works for me. So, but Christy's a lot more regimented about it. She's very, very faithful about like getting up at a specific time and doing A and doing B and doing C. And it's something that I really need to adapt to get better at it. I do my stuff throughout the day. So mine's more like I get up, get my coffee, and I usually hop on and I'll read something or I'll listen to something, but I don't necessarily do it then. Now, I'd still get it done within the day, but I only know that for a fact that the reason why I get it done is because I enjoy doing it. And that's why I want to show this graphic. So not all of us are going to enjoy feeding our mind.
Right.
Some of us are going to enjoy feeding our body or our spirit more. And the grind is going to come with feeding our mind, or the grind is going to come in feeding our body or spirit. But the point is that we have to make sure that it's a priority. And just like Christy said, we have to find balance even within the balance. We have to find balance within the way that we treat our mind, the way that we service our mind, and we don't go overboard trying to consume too much. And that's a real problem for me. Like I go overboard on consuming things, and what I end up doing is I end up hopping. I'll hop from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and I don't really continually finish anything. And that's a real problem because I'm just like, ooh, I found something, squirrel, and I want to learn more, and I want to know all about this real quick. Yeah. And then I bounce from that to the next thing. That's not necessarily, and I do. And so, but the point is I need to find better balance in that. Even though I do plenty of it, I probably do too much of it, and I don't relax enough on it. And we're going to talk a little bit about this when it comes to body, but it really relates to mine too, is we don't give ourselves enough rest when it comes from it either. And Christy mentioned that. When we were talking before we started today, she's like, we need to find balance within these things. Yeah. Take rest time. And she's like, and your thing is to like listen to like stand up, comedy and stuff. And it's kind of like, and I never realized that. Like, she pointed it out, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do. That's what I do. That's my way of kind of taking a break. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'll get feeling a little guilty about it. I'll be like, oh, I've listened to this a little too long.
Balance.
Yes. And that's exactly right. You get to a point where you're like, okay, so if I'm feeling guilty about it, then I need to actually make sure that I'm scheduling it, that I have, like, okay, and that way we feel comfortable in it. Like, it's okay. I know that I'm allowed to do this for this many, hours, times, minutes, whatever. I do this on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. And at the very end of the show, we want to share a document that we created beforehand to kind of give an example of how we schedule things and why it's smart to do that. So
while we're talking about balance, though, I just find it interesting that I actually think about this all the time. I think it's important for the mind portion of it, of how to find balance. Like, everyone talks about how you should be present in the moment. So if I'm sitting with him and we're in the house and we're in the living room and we're having a conversation, I need to be giving him my undivided attention. I shouldn't be on my phone or doing other things. And it's the same thing at work. Like, while you're at work, you should be focused on your job, focused on what you're doing, focused on the project at hand, and have a list of things that you need to accomplish that day. And then from the emotional side of that, what happens is, though, we are so present in the moment that we become reactionary in our feelings. So we allow then our feelings to dictate where we are in the moment. So if I get up in the morning, I know a lot of people that say, okay, I get up in the morning, I'm feeling so good, I'm feeling so centered, I'm feeling so awesome. And then I get out in the real world and it's just like, like all the time. And then that's telling me, like, okay, you're allowing your emotions in that time. You're present in that moment, but you're allowing them to dictate how you're reacting. So it's important, like, throughout the day, he and I both have an app that we downloaded that will text us or give us an alert throughout the day that is a positive quote. So I'll be sitting at work, I'll be doing something, and all of a sudden my watch will go off and I'll look, and it's my motivation app, and it's saying, you run your day, don't let your day run you. And it's just a positive reminder. I'll look over, and when I'm starting to feel frantic, and I'll have, I'll see a quote or something that I have posted, and it reminds me, okay, let me pause for a minute. I'm present, I'm in my day, but it's starting to get my feelings chaotic. So I need to stop and pray. I need to send a prayer. I need to send a text to somebody. So good balance also is realizing how you are reacting in the moment with your feelings. If you start feeling like this, then you're out of balance in that moment.
Yeah, being self-aware.
Yes. And so that's why even the thing when people are like, well, you should be present in the situation. Yeah, you should be present, but don't let that dictate chaos for yourself.
Yeah, our minds can get completely overwhelmed because emotions, really, honestly, if we're not careful, emotions will run our minds. They'll take it right off the track.
That's what happens on Sundays. People go to church on Sundays and they're like, oh, I'm feeling so good. And then they leave and then they go out and then they are living their life completely wrong again. Yeah. And that's because they're not actually soaking up what was said and doing it.
And then putting it into action, which is the most important part of it. So, so we talk about finding true balance in our lives. We need to find balance within balance, which is super important. So the first thing, of course, is mind. We've talked about that. So the second thing is body. And this is easy for some people. Some people, they really enjoy it, right? They get addicted to working out, to the fitness portion of it. We watch a lot of TV shows and stuff where, the spouses are gone. I mean, you look at the people on screen first off, and you're like, where does this person find the time, number one, to go out and lift weights 6 hours a day and jog 40 miles a day to look like this, right? So not that there's anything wrong with being fit, but we got to find balance within balance, but what ends up happening for most of us is we go from one extreme to the next, right? So we're so concentrating on trying to feed our mind, probably with work stuff. That's a lot of times what it is, because our emotions are getting us wrapped up in it. When we come home, we're so exhaustedly tired, we don't want to do any type of fitness. We don't want to work on our body. And it's so easy for that to happen, right? For all of us. It really is. And it's different for everybody. I talked about it before. We get passionate about certain things, mind, body, or spirit, and we get caught up in those categories. And sometimes people are like, I love fitness, so I'm just going to do all fitness. Well, there's a time when that can cause injuries. We were talking about it before we started. There's some Olympians in the past that were so well fit that their hearts got so strong and large that they actually had heart attacks and they died. Now, that's a little extreme, but that just serves the point of there was not enough balance in it. You know, we got to seek balance in it. And we can't be from one extreme to the next. We got to say, hey, you know, I need to carve out time. I need to schedule time to take care of myself. But that schedule doesn't have to be for 4 hours a day.
Yeah. And that's what we were talking about, like Josh said, for the body. Like you could just always be working out and then you're neglecting your family or your significant other, your kids, your job, because you're so focused on that. And the body portion, though, when you talk about then balancing all three, mind, body, spirit, that's something that I struggle with the most. And the important thing with this is if wherever you struggle, whichever the three you struggle, it's important to at least start something. So one of our previous podcasts, you know, we talked about, I think it's the Savers, I think it's called. You scribe. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the acronym.
Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of, though. Acronym. So it talks about doing it for 60 minutes. The miracle morning, I think, is what it is. And it's 60 minutes in the morning. But it's saying even if you don't have 60 minutes, you could do 5 minutes and do each of them for 60 seconds. Yeah. And doing something for 60 seconds, like for me, body, if that's something that I struggle with, I used to be really good. I'd get up in the morning and say, okay, within all the other things I do with the prayer, reading the book, things like that, I'm at least going to try to do 25 sit-ups or 10 sit-ups, you know, just start. That's the whole purpose, you know, and I'll start and I'll be really good at it for a little bit. But since this is the weakest part for me is my body, that dies off. And it's important to do something, even a little something. And I've talked about it before. I tried planking in the morning time and I mean, for 60 seconds, I have my phone sitting in front of me while I'm planking and I'm just like watching it, like get to 60 seconds because it's a lot harder than what I thought. So that's the hardest part for me is you have to at least do it. Even if it's only for 60 seconds, you need to start. I need to start.
I mean, balance is all about routine. It really is.
Yeah,
so Christy and I took our family on a cruise pre-COVID, kind of pre-COVID.
Right before COVID.
It was
COVID was on the cusp.
We're like telling our kids, like, don't cough near the boat. Like, they won't let us on.
People were talking about it, but it wasn't a pandemic yet, people.
Yeah. It was in February, but the point is that we were leading up to go on this and we're like, okay, it's time to focus on body, right? It's time to focus. Like, let's get crazy. And we did. We went to the gym like every single day. Like, not that there's anything wrong with that, but we like altered our whole schedule to make sure that we fit this in because it became a priority. But when we got back, we're like, oh yeah, like
COVID hit. The gym's closed.
They did, but it's reopened.
Yeah,
and how many times have we been back?
They're not supposed to be open.
But ours is open.
It's breaking the law.
But ours is open.
Yeah, it is.
And how many times have we been back?
None.
0 times we've been back.
This is the way that I look at it, though. Okay, this is the way that I look at it.
Here we go.
We're both at school right now. And then our lives are going to get out of balance, okay, between church, our podcast, our recovery ministry, school, laundry, housework, jobs. Okay, so throw in going to the gym too. It's going to be out of balance. We should just start with a 1-minute plank or something.
And we should. And that's the truth. That's how we find balance. And that's why I bring it up. Is because it's easy to make excuses to be out of balance. Because
I just did a whole bunch.
The Bible, you know, tells us that our body is a temple, you know, and we need to care for it accordingly.
Mine's a big temple right now.
Oh, stop. So, but the point is that we need to make sure that we do take care of it because if we're physically aren't fit, we're not taking care of ourselves, it causes us to feel sluggish, which causes us to feel more depressed, which is now a spiral out of control, causes us not to be motivated to do things. So, you know, we get on this hamster wheel is what ends up happening.
Well, and we're just talking about working out, and it's not just about working out. It's about eating healthy.
Yes, you're right.
It's him and I were talking when we're being lazy about what we eat, if we're eating a lot of carbs or we're like, oh, quick, you know, after we get out of church, we're rushing, just go through a drive-through. You could get a salad. I mean, Wendy's, a lot of the even fast food restaurants now sell salads. Instead, we go to Arby's and get a beef and cheddar melt. You know?
Those things are good. Let's just be real, okay?
We don't need to trigger anybody. So good. So, but we talked about like even when we're eating healthy and it's not that you have to cut carbs out, but if you're balancing it with eating your fruits and mainly vegetables and greens and things like that, we feel better. You know, our joints don't ache as much. We don't feel as bloated. We feel lighter. So it's not just about being active and working out. It's about eating healthy. I mean, it's important to take care of your body in some form. And we're not doing that hardly at all right now. No, we did just buy a bullet, right?
The Ninja.
The Ninja.
The Nutra Ninja. The solution to all weight gain. Okay? This thing is awesome. But the point is it's we need to don't stop trying and attempting and working.
Don't quit quitting.
Yes. So the point is we have to find balance in it, and it's hard. Let's just be real. It is hard, and every category is different for everybody. You know, I have people all the time. I'm like, okay, what did you read today? What did you listen today? What did you watch today? Nothing. You know, I watched Netflix. Okay. I understand this is a struggle and it's hard for you, and I can appreciate that because other things in my life are a struggle and hard too, but you got to make it a priority. We have to. And we only talk about this stuff because it's things that we need to work on too. If we expect to take our faith, our family, and our future to the next level, we have to be willing to push ourselves in areas that are uncomfortable. And right now in our lives, body is hard for us. Eating right is hard for us. It's really, really hard for us. And we have all the really good excuses, the reason why that it's okay to skip it. But in all reality, if we want to feel balanced, if we want balance in our lives, body's got to be one of them.
Sleep can be lumped in there too. I mean, to take care of your body and your mind, you know, and you got to make sure you're getting enough sleep.
Got to have that rest, 14 hours a day.
No.
All right, number 3 is spirit. You know, and this is one of these things that you never think you can have enough spiritual side, you know, and in all reality, there's plenty of people that we know personally that all they focus on is their spiritual side, and they miss so much of the other balance in their lives, you know? And I think that too much spiritual side is you really miss the whole relationship portion of it when it comes to your spiritual side of, you know, the whole point is to have a relationship with Jesus. It's not just to be spiritual, you know, and then you become more judging. You can become a lot of more things because you're missing balance in other parts of your life.
You become legalistic.
You can.
And it's, or, I mean, even on the other end of the spectrum, you start feeling like, you know, you're floating around on a cloud and you don't do anything wrong. But you can become more, that's keeping the balance within the balance for the spirit. Like, you need to be able to, again, nature could be lumped in with this. Like, if you're reading the Bible, you're praying, you're journaling, but then you also are going out for walks in nature. That is good for your soul, your spirit. It's very, very good for that. So it's good to balance that. But it's also good to balance it with your mind and your body as well, and not just do one specific thing, one of these 3 things. And a lot of people say, well, I go to church and I read my Bible and that's all I do, you know. And it's important not just to read your Bible for your spirit though too. It's look up apologetics, so look up theologians, you know, look up things like that. Look up Christian authors, listen to Christian podcasts. You know, it's important to have that.
Music.
Music. God created us to be a community. That's what he created us for.
Yeah, it's so it's funny because earlier Tyler goes, yeah, me and my wife are the same. And it's funny because I think couples really, and this is what I was going to talk about, not just with spiritual, but something that's important is we can be our worst enemies, okay? Because I'll come home or Christy will come home from work and she'll be like, I had a rough day. I should have some ice cream.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, and I want some ice cream. And I'm like, I want some ice cream too. Yes, let's have ice cream, you know? Like, we can be worse enemies as a couple, you know? And it's important though that we seek our own path on some of this stuff. You know, that's why having alone time and being able to connect with God in a spiritual way, you know, it's important that you do these things, that you have your own track and together, you know, not that you do it separate, but you do it together. But it's important that you have your own track with it. And you don't necessarily rely on your spouse to say, okay, if she's sinking, I'm sinking. Well, wait a minute, you know, if she's sinking, I should try to help her. And when I'm sinking, she should try to help me. But if I'm not strong enough at the time, you know, that's when these things start to become a problem. And I really believe like our spiritual side, it's easy to say that I'm going to go sit in a field. Christy said this earlier because it's funny, because it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sit in a field, for, 16 hours a day and hold my hands up and just worship God. And that's what I'm going to do every day.
You become a martyr.
Yeah. And that's exactly what ends up happening.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, now there's no balance in it. Okay, there's no value.
How are you giving back? How are you reaching out to people? How are you spreading
How
God's
are you growing?
How are you spreading God's good news?
It's no different than saying that I read my Bible every single day. I've read through the Bible 47 times. Great. Okay, do you understand any of it? Have you applied any of it? And there's so much value in that. Like, okay, I've read, the book of Genesis 72 times. And why do I keep reading it? Is because I keep trying to apply the things to my lives. There's so much value in that.
Yeah.
It's not a race. We're not trying to race to the end of our lives. We're trying to find balance to get the most out of what's going on in our current life that we're living today. We can't worry about tomorrow. We need to worry about today. And so we're seeking balance for today. And our spiritual side is, there is balance to be found in that. A lot of time churches will tell you need to be there Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. You need to serve on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Monday mornings. And, you need to do all these things. And a lot of times the church needs that help. And it's nothing against you. You have to find your own balance, and you can't allow other people to make you feel bad about what's going on. That's why balance is so important, because guilt will get you.
Yeah. And well, two things. One, our pastor will even talk about how, there could be too much serving in the church. Like you'll then start getting bitter, or not be doing it with a grateful heart, or not be giving as much. And then you'll just quit everything because you're overwhelmed.
So true.
But I want to back up a little bit. So, he'll say, I'll come home from work and I'll say, I want ice cream. And then he'll say, yeah, let's have ice cream. But it's very important though, to allow yourself to have those bad days, not have it in overabundance. But he'll look, if we were supposed to work out that day and I'm like, like today, I really came home, I tweaked my back. And I'm just like, my back hurts so bad. And I'm trying to deal with it. If I would say, I want ice cream tonight, he would look at me and say, okay, but we're going to make a commitment then. We're going to go to the gym the next 2 days then. And so then we say, give our word on something, and then we do it. So that's having balance too.
Yeah.
So just make sure you can have ice cream.
No. You don't deprive yourself, because if you deprive yourself, then you're only going to want to do all the wrong things.
Yeah.
You're going to lean into something that you do like the most and stay away from everything else and not work hard on it. That's why balance is so hard. That's why you could go to the bookstore, if there even is any anymore. You could go to Amazon, right, and search for books on balance, and it's all basically the same. It's all stating the same stuff. The point is we have to make sure that we do two things. And the first thing I want to bring up is going to be the challenge for today. And this is something you really need to do.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you get somebody to help hold you accountable. I heard something years ago about, I think it was Tony Robbins, that was on some talk show. I think it was, what is the talk show where it has all the ladies that sit at the table in the morning? The View. Okay, he was on The View. And I think it was Tony Robbins. It was somebody. Anyway, so he was talking about this weight loss challenge that he was having, right?
Oh,
and
yes.
He was talking about the weight loss challenge, and he's like, you can do this and this and this. And during the break, they all got together, and they're all at the table. They're like, we want in. We want to do this. We all want to do this together. Give us the plan. We're all going to do it together. And he looked at him. He's like, look, I want to be frank with you right now. And they're like, yes, please be frank with us. He goes, it would be horrible for you all to do it together, because you all suffer from the same problem right now. Mm-hmm. You're not going to hold each other accountable appropriately. So I go to say that to say this. Where are your weaknesses? Because you're not going to be strong in all of these, and you're not going to be weak in all these. Mind, body, spirit, you're probably strong in some of this, right? And I've said it before, even Tiger Woods had a swing coach, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean his swing coach is better than him. It just means that his swing coach is really good at analyzing the swing of his club, and it made him better. So find somebody that can hold you accountable in your weak area. Who is this person that's going to help hold you accountable? And listen to them and stick it through with them. And it's really important that you do that. It's only going to make you better.
Yeah, right? That's why they say to surround yourself with people. Like, if you want to get better in this specific area, then you should surround yourself with people that are successful in that area. Yeah. Because that'll without even them specifically looking at us, that will increase our competitive nature in it and will want to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important. That's why people say if you're, you are the average of the main 5 people that you hang out with. So if you are the average of 5 people that basically just binge watch Netflix all the time, go to work, come home, watch Netflix, that's basically what you're going to do. It's good to have a balance. It's good to have a friend that will, or a person in your life that will just go and relax with you and sit with you. It's good to have a person that's going to push you to be more active. It's good to have a person that, is more spiritual, that'll push you to read your Bible more. It's good. And that's the balance that you need as well, even within your own inner circle.
Definitely. So the last thing I want to show is something that I really would suggest that we all use.
This.
We all use. And so that's not it. Let me get to it. Boom. So it's really important if we want to find balance. The best way to find balance is to schedule it. A lot of times people are like, I know, but I don't really know how my day is going to go from day to day. Okay, but you have a general idea. And now this, I just kind of made up, right?
You just threw stuff in here.
I just threw stuff in here just to give an idea because some people work first shift, other people work third shift. Like it depends, right? But we do know this, right? You probably get up approximately the same time every day. And if you don't, you're probably unemployed and you should get up the same point every single day, right? So it's important.
Mel Robbins talks about that. Yeah,
it is important. Yeah. So the first thing is wake up earlier than you normally do. And how much earlier? Well, I listed it on the screen. You're going to plank for 5 minutes. Christy laughed at that earlier because she's like, nobody planks for 5 minutes. It was an example. Okay, it was just an example.
Oh my gosh.
Plank, push-up.
I looked at him, I'm like, have you planked for 5 minutes? Have you planked for 5 minutes?
Nobody's ever planked for 5 minutes. So it's like a world record. My point is you could do something physically active for 5 minutes. Read for 10 minutes. Now, this doesn't mean necessarily just read. You could listen to something for 10 minutes. You can encourage your heart and your mind for 10 minutes in the morning before you get your day started. You can pray for 5 minutes. You can get all these things in for 20 minutes. So how much earlier do you get up in the day? You get up 20 minutes earlier in the day. That's what you do. You start your day 20 minutes earlier and you schedule these things in. That's what you do, right? And then you get ready and you go to work, or you get ready for your day, or you get ready to do whatever it is that you normally do on your schedule. And then the afternoon, let's just say you do go to work, right? Park further away than you normally do. Give yourself a little extra walk time. That's encouraging your heart. That's giving you a little more body. Eat a smart lunch. Pack accordingly. Christy takes specific things with her to work so she doesn't go out to eat at work. So she packs very specific things so she eats healthier. Walk for 5 minutes on your lunch. Maybe you can sit at your desk at work or wherever you work. Maybe you can eat throughout the day, and then on your lunch break, utilize it. Take that time away and then go and utilize that time to get your body active and alive, and even make phone calls to people that you love. You can do that. Pray, do a devotional during that time. Utilize that time during the day. And then at nighttime, eat a smart dinner, be smart, plan accordingly, spend time with your family. Make sure you schedule that in. It's important to do that. And free time, whether it's at night, afternoon, morning, you got to make sure you schedule free time in. And then read, journal, pray. You can figure that out in a different part of your day. And then, of course, I listed 8 hours of sleep. I don't get 8 hours of sleep, but 7 to 8 hours is what you should get. You should plan it. You should schedule it. It's important that you do that.
Talking about balance, though, too, it's important to not, if you don't live your days at all like this, don't try to do all of this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just take one of the things. Just take one of the afternoon part. Just take the night part. Just try a little bit here and there. Don't try to all of a sudden rework and revamp your entire day. You will get overwhelmed. That's out of balance then. You need to make small shifts for your days, and then make that a habit. Get comfortable with it. Like it. See how it feels, how much better you feel. And then you'll want to do more. So that's important.
Yeah, so I want to make sure, I'm going to actually drop a picture down in the comment right now of a blank one of these sheets. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to do that right now.
Can you do that right now?
No, I was going to try. See if it let me. No, it won't let me do it because it is live. So, but I'll do it afterwards. I'll make sure that I do that because I do have a blank copy of it. Let's see here. I did put it on here. Let's see here.
That's all right. You can do it after.
Right there. So there's a blank one, and I'll make sure that I get a copy down. I'll put it down inside the chat down below after we're all completely done. But make sure that you find balance within your balance. So, we've talked about it before. We've talked about it, all throughout this entire podcast tonight, is that we need to seek balance in our mind, our body, and our spirit. But we need to find balance within those two. We're going to lean closer to one of those three things that we enjoy to do. And it's easy for us to get lost in that. Let's make sure that we're scheduling, we're planning, we're making our days appropriate so we do get better. We need to do this personally as well, because certain things on this is easier for us and other things are harder. So we want to make sure that we find somebody that's going to help hold us accountable. So make sure that you do that.
Yep.
All right. So don't forget to please like and follow us, share us out on Facebook so we can be out on the Facebook world for all to see. So, all right. So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.